Welcome back to Pack Report, where we break down all things Packers. Today we're going to be breaking down the Seahawks versus the Packers final preseason game before we hop into the regular season. So we're just going to be we're going to be breaking down the position battles to look out for, what guys are kind of fringe guys that could make an impact and possibly make this roster if they play good enough, and just what to look out for in this final preseason game. There is quite a bit of things that you need to be looking out for in this game while watching, so we're just going to go over those and let's hop right into it. In no particular order on how important these things are. So up first we have cornerback depth. Outside of Bullard, Hobbs, Valentine, and Nixon, the fifth corner and like maybe potential sixth corner is pretty much up for grabs, with Kalen King, Kamal Haddon, and other players like that working to get a roster spot. Even the 7th round pick that we took, Micah Robinson's going to be fighting for a 53-man roster spot. So that's something I'm going to be looking out for, is just who kind of plays well in this game and who takes that last roster spot. Most of these guys might come back on P squad, but it's definitely something to look out for. Outside of the solid 7 we have with the 5 starters, Jordan Morgan and Anthony Belton, there's really O-line depth's pretty poor, and with Donovan Jennings playing bad and Kadeem Telfer having season-ending surgery, the O-line depth is definitely up for grabs, like a Jacob Monk to play well to try to make this 53. So just kind of looking out for those guys that play well in this game to see who kind of steals that last offensive lineman spot. I don't know if the Packers are going to keep 8 or 9. I know teams have kind of leaned towards keeping more offensive linemen just because they're so valuable, so I'll be curious to see who they all keep, but definitely something to watch for when you're in the late depths that's like 3rd, 4th quarter, and it might not be that important. It's definitely something to look out for to see if the line's holding up and see who's kind of playing bad, because this could make or break some of these guys. The next thing to look out for is the quarterbacks. Malik, I'm pretty interested. He's going to get a lot of run in this game, and he's been pretty solid in camp. I'm kind of just excited to watch him. Obviously, we know he's a solid guy, but I think it's just something to watch for, because, I mean, we could turn out to trade this guy for a decent pick, I would think, if he plays well and kind of proves himself. That 3rd quarterback spot's really interesting to me to see who wins that job. Personally, hopefully Taylor wins that job over Sean Clifford. I really don't want Sean Clifford to win that 3rd quarterback job. It really doesn't matter once you get into the 3rd quarterback. If you're on your 3rd quarterback, you're pretty much screwed anyway, but I just think Sean Clifford was a wasted pick in general, and the fact he's made it this long in the league is kind of surprising to me. So hopefully someone finally takes that job from him. Not as important, but the starters are going to play a little bit in this game, I believe. So something to look out for is obviously Matthew Golden, see how he plays. It's not too big of a deal, but I'm sure people are going to be interested to see what he does. So that's something I put on the list just because I know everyone's going to want to look out for him. So hopefully he has a pretty nice game, but if he doesn't, I'm not really too worried about it. And like I said, the starters are going to play in this game, so I'm curious to see how Rasheed Walker plays with that left tackle battle going on with Jordan Morgan. I'm assuming they're just going to rotate, but if Rasheed plays poorly, I could see maybe Jordan Morgan stealing this job from him. So that's something I'm really looking out for, is to see how Rasheed Walker plays in this game. I'm not sure if the Seahawks are playing their starters or not, but regardless, I'm going to see how he holds up out there. And another one I'm looking forward to is the drops and the penalties. Like, we've been playing really sloppy football, and especially last year, it seemed like we were pretty heavily penalized. So I really want to make sure that this is getting cleaned up in the 3rd preseason game. Obviously, it's not the end all be all. Like, towards the second half, it's going to be a lot of backups and stuff. So if we're getting flagged then, it's not too big of a deal, I guess. But I just want to see this team play a little bit cleaner. I don't want to be stumbling going into the regular season with just dumb penalties and the drop issues continuing. The drops do have me a little bit nervous because they seem to be popping up a little bit more in camp, and a lot of our receivers aren't even practicing. It's really been Romeo and Malik Heath kind of having drops in practice. And with guys not practicing, as such as Jaden Reed and Wicks, I'm kind of worried when they come back that the drops might resume. So hopefully they get that figured out. I really don't want to go to another season watching the drops. We were like, I don't even know. I think we had like the 2nd highest drop rate in the NFL. I don't really recall for sure, but it was somewhere in there. So yeah, that's another thing I'm looking out for, is just trying to play a clean game to limit the penalties and limit the drops, hopefully. And so, because I really don't want that to creep into the regular season. Probably the last thing I'm looking out for is going to be the pass rush. The starters are going to play, like I said, so I just want to see what kind of push they're getting, even if it's against the backups. I just want to see what these guys are doing. And even with our depth, guys like Warren Brinson and Nazir Stackhouse, he's not much of a pass rusher, but I want to see how those D linemen play, because that is going to come down to the last spot between Nazir and Brinson. So I'm curious to see who wins that. So that's something to look out for as well at the D tackle position. But just overall, I'm curious to see how this pass rush holds up, because we need to be able to rush 4. We weren't able to do it last year. We're going to need a big year from Rashawn Gary. The dude's getting paid like one of the top guys, and he's yet to have a double-digit sack season, so it's kind of ridiculous. He was on a great trajectory before he tore his ACL, but I just think he needs to get back and make that jump for us. If Rashawn Gary has a big year and Lucas Van Ness can take that step, I think it's really going to put us in a great position to go far in the playoffs. If our pass rush doesn't step up, I can really see us being an early playoff exit, just because our corner depth isn't the greatest, and if we can't get after the passer, it's going to be really really rough, even regardless if you had lockdown corners. They can't guard forever. So being able to get after the passer is going to be huge. Aside from the preseason game, I do think that Jeff Halfway is going to implement Quay and Edgerrin getting after the passer to kind of simulate pressures like they did last year, but I could see them blitzing a lot. I think I do remember seeing a clip of even Edgerrin Cooper lining up at edge. I think they're going to move him around a lot and add a lot of wrinkles to this defense since he can rush the passer so well. But that's kind of off topic. That's for another day. This is about the preseason game. But yeah, that's all I really had to look out for. I'm sure there's other things, and leave a comment down below if there's anything I missed. But it should be a good one. Hopefully we come out with a dub. Obviously it doesn't matter, but I'd love to come out with a win. I would say if I really had to break it down to like my top 3 importance, I would want to see just the drops being limited, just playing clean football, no penalties. I'm curious about that cornerback to see if Kalen King steps up, Kamal Haddon, or Micah Robinson, who kind of takes that job. And then the last one would be the D tackle battle with Warren Brinson and Nazir Stackhouse. I'm curious to see who wins that. I think Warren Brinson is really good and can play that 3 tech really well behind Devontae Wyatt. And Nazir Stackhouse would be like the TJ Slayton replacement. So I'm curious to see who wins that, because we do need a bigger run stuffer. Kenny Clark is the nose this year, and apparently that's what he loves to play. He played it in college, played it his whole life, but he is pretty undersized for nose tackle. I'm not doubting him, but it'd be nice to have an early down run stopper so he could bump out to the 3 tech and put Stackhouse in there to stop the run on early downs. But yeah, those are my keys for the game. And if I had to go a score prediction, just to throw it out there, I'm going to say 24-17 Packers. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be biased. We got to come on with that dub. That pretty much wraps up this Pack report. Until next time, go Pack, go.